Welcome back to our third installment of our three-part videos for the Hong Kong New Writers Awards competition, New Tales of the Gobi Desert. My name is Alexander Yu, and I'm a teacher here at NTK Academic Group. This video will focus on continuity and why it's important. What is continuity? Continuity is a flow of sequences within the narrative, and if that flow of sequences is off, or there's missing data or information, then we have continuity error. I used this year's topic of New Tales of the Gobi Desert and give you an example of the continuity error. Take for example this narrative. I'll give you a scenario where we have a 12-year-old trapped beside a desert dune in the Gobi Desert. How did they get there? And we already have continuity error because we have missing data or a missing series of events as to how and when the characters suddenly appeared. Because we know that a 12-year-old most probably can't drive, and a 12-year-old can't fly a plane, a 12-year-old most probably doesn't have enough money to travel towards the Gobi Desert. So we are trying to go back into our narrative and fix all these gaps or holes in our information so that we can go over our continuity errors and make sure that everything makes sense and that the series or sequence of events within the narrative flows properly. So how do we identify continuity errors? Remember, stories don't always make sense because of continuity errors, which means that the internal mechanisms or rules that you as the author created at the very beginning of the story are no longer being followed. Remember, maintaining the rules of both setting and character are really important to make sure that you avoid any continuity errors. So, in order to identify any of these errors, make sure you go back to the beginning of your narratives and review the limitations that you've imposed on your characters and settings, and any other rules or regulations that you put throughout your story, and make sure that your characters all abide or stick to them as you go along with your journey. How does continuity maintain or break the limitations within our narrative? Think about the characters that we've created in our stories so far. What kind of limitations did you impose on them? Most probably you imposed the three limitations of wealth, power, and characteristics. We take for instance wealth. If the character was poor at the beginning of the story, did they suddenly become rich, and how? If the character at the beginning of the story was weak, did they suddenly become strong or vice versa? And if the characteristics we gave them were mean, and suddenly the character would suddenly become kind, what sequence or event happened so that we can explain all of these limitations being either mended or being broken? In likewise manner, continuity also affects setting. Remember, setting is the where and when of your story. If your characters or your narrative were both modern, then remember, everything should be modern within your story. Don't have old technology with new technology because it doesn't make sense. Likewise, if your story were to keep in the past, make sure that you maintain all the technology in the past and don't bring anything from the future. Thanks again for watching our third and final video on fiction writing for the Hong Kong New Writers Awards competition. If you need more information, go to the Hong Kong New Writers Awards website or go to the NTK Academic Group website. My name is Alexander Yu. I hope I've helped. Good luck and keep trying.